It's not the warmest day of the year. Hello and welcome to another episode of Fully Charged. Now I'm currently sitting in the very new hybrid Lexus CT200h. This is a hybrid compact car, but obviously it's a Lexus, so it's kind of quite posh. I'm just going to start it now. Press power, foot on brake. Oh, things are happening. Lots of things, lots of lights coming on. Oh, sat nav, just as well, because I haven't got a clue where I am. Just in case you can see any of the exterior, I'm actually right next to the Eton Rowing Club lake, I think it is. So it's quite a posh area to be, which is only appropriate for such a posh car. Oh my God, there's heaters and fans come on. How do I do that? There's a lot of buttons. Oh, there's fans. Just turn them down a bit because I don't want too much noise. Yes, the Eton Rowing Club Lake, which is where they're going to be holding the Olympic rowing championships next year at the Olympics. Amazing, long, sort of, I don't know how long it is. Long. It's a long, straight lake. And essentially, I'm in the Queen's back garden because this is right next to Windsor. I can't actually see Windsor Castle. Must be somewhere around here. So it's all very posh. I'm now going to go for a drive in this car. It's the first time I've driven it. When I put it in gear, all the doors locked. See, that's security. There we go. Oh, nice. It's moving. I'm not doing anything. I'm just literally... So essentially, it's the same idea, because obviously Lexus are part of Toyota, so it's the same essential concept as the Prius. It's just a little bit more refined, and as you can tell, that is seriously quiet. As you get involved in cars, that's the thing I've realised, is you do enter a sort of bubble where you just assume everybody knows how a hybrid works. A hybrid works, so I'm going to do it for people who don't know. A hybrid works by combining an electric motor and a petrol engine, and they're in the front of this car. And at the moment, I'm not using any petrol at all, so I'm travelling along at about 30 miles an hour, and there's absolutely no tailpipe emissions. All the energy that's being used has come from previous tailpipe emissions and the movement of the vehicle, so that's what's charged the battery. You don't plug this car in. The batteries are charged by the movement, so when I decelerate like that, it starts to charge the batteries. When I accelerate like that, I'll see if I can get that. So there's the petrol engine coming in. So I had to floor it to make that do it, absolutely floor it. So they're working in a combination now. Why bother? Why go to all that effort of not just putting a petrol engine in, but a petrol and an electric motor? Well, the overall effect of that is that you use the petrol engine hugely less when you're moving. You're using a combination of the two power sources. So when you're moving at low speed like this, which, let's face it, a lot of the time you spend in a car, you're moving at low speed like this, you're using either zero or a tiny amount of petrol. So, and the overall effect of that over many years is vastly reduced fuel consumption. And this is something I've become very aware of driving the Prius. I drove down here today about 80 miles to come and see this in the Prius that I use on Carpool, and I got over 70 miles to the gallon, 70.6 miles to the gallon in a large car. Now this car, the Lexus claim, will get a similar level of fuel consumption to a Prius, although they actually say this will get 69, 70 miles to the gallon at best.
In a quarter of a mile, left turn.
Yeah, I don't want you to do that talking now, mate.
In a quarter of a mile, left turn.
Now, I don't know about you, but I find that annoying. It's just me. The lady telling me, I can see on the map, I can just glance like that at the map, I can see that in a quarter of a mile I've got to make a left turn. I don't need her telling me that. So far, I mean, this is an absolute delight to drive. There's not really any point me saying that. It's a Lexus. It's really, really well-built car. It's really solid. They've got some really clever bits of sort of engineering and geometry going on underneath the car with dampers and road holding abilities and, you know, everything to make it slip through the air as efficiently as possible. It's got a very, very, very low drag coefficient. I think it's 0.29. We filmed it there on Scrapheap. Sorry. Just every now and then I see a location where we used to film Scrapheap. We did a lot of it around here. What I find intriguing is how car companies have changed. When you think of when I first heard of Lexus, you know, the cars I saw, great big slabs, big engines, a lot of gold trim, you know, hugely fuel inefficient, great big thundering beasts, fast, they were sort of renowned for being very fast cars. I can remember seeing Quentin Wilson doing a review of a Lexus, and it was doing 165 miles an hour. So they were fast, powerful cars that were sort of competing with Mercedes and all those sort of things. They were expensive, they were flash, and if you had a Lexus, it was and a great reliability and build quality and all those things. And then a couple of years ago, they introduced the big SUV hybrid, and I've driven one of those, and it was without question the most comfortable car I think I've ever driven. I drove a couple of very long journeys in it. When I got out, my middle-aged back didn't ache. I just stood up and went, oh my God, can't believe I've been sitting in a car for the last couple of hours. But I think what this car represents is how the whole automotive industry are sort of cottoning on, and they're working it out, that if they make ever bigger, chunkier cars with bigger engines, they're not going to sell very many of them. And this is really competing with something like the BMW 1 Series, or it's slightly bigger than, say, a Volkswagen Golf. And it's much more refined in its build quality and in its fittings and buttons. It's got more of that gubbins than your kind of standard Golf. It comes in, it costs not cheap, it's about 22,000 quid, I think, for the basic one. Zero road tax, no congestion charge in central London, so it has those advantages. But its main advantage, above and beyond anything else, is its fuel efficiency. I've seen comparative figures between this car and, say, the BMW 1 Series, which is very similar size, over 60,000 miles, and there is a £3,000 fuel saving driving this car over the BMW, which cost the same to buy.
Mile, straight on at the roundabout.
She is really getting on my nerves. I'm going to stop and make her stop talking. The journey that this manufacturer is going on seems to be fairly similar across the board. Smaller, more fuel efficient, lighter cars. Now they're at the sort of high end of that whole spectrum. And this is a petrol engine that is barely bloody working. I mean, since I've been driving it, it's been on for probably half the time I've been driving it. And over a long period of time, that really makes a difference. And that's why I've always been a keen proponent of hybrid vehicles like this as a stepping stone to a fully electric one. Now, when Lexus produce a fully electric one, I'll be waxing lyrical, believe me, and I believe they will do, because I think all manufacturers are going to start doing that. Because even if you get 65 miles to the gallon with a petrol car like you can with this, it's still costing you a lot of money to put that, because petrol is really expensive. 60 miles to the gallon, a gallon costs 6 quid. That's a quid every 10 miles. 60 miles in an all-electric car is going to cost you, I'll be massively generous, £1.10. That's for the most expensive electricity you can possibly get. The gear stick isn't quite, I'm very used to where the Prius gear changer is. Calling it a gear stick is really silly. I don't know what you'd call it. The mood paddle. I'm adjusting the mood pedal, because it doesn't, the cars like this don't have gears in any sense that we'd understand them. Basically, it's got drive, reverse, and brake. And brake is you can use to slow the vehicle down, say down when you're going down a hill. It uses the engine braking. So you don't use the brakes. If you drive carefully in one of these, you barely touch the brakes. The brakes last forever in cars like this. So I've been driving this car very carefully for the last few minutes. Just see what it does. So if I put it in there, if I turn it that way, yeah, it goes fast. What Lexus might have done with this car is really take the next step, because there's no question about it. The Toyota Prius looked different, and people noticed it, and people either liked it because of what it stood for, or they hated it with a vengeance. You could drive one of these and very, very few people would know. If you didn't want to make a statement about your hybridness, it just looks like a car. It's nothing particularly spectacular, in any way. It looks like a small, compact, sensible car that you can